Dasam Tato Jayamudirayeet Nashtaprayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 32. Ajata Shatruhu Pratanam Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Parebhyaha Sankitaha Snehat Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayungta Chatuh Anginim Prayungta Chaturanginim Prayungta Chaturanginim Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayungta Chaturanginim Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayungta Chaturanginim Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayungta Chaturanginim Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayungta Chaturanginim Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayungta Chaturanginim Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayungta Chaturanginim Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayungta Chaturanginim Ajata Shatru Pratanam Gopi Thaya Madhudvishaha Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayungta Chaturanginim. Synonyms: Ajata Shatruhu Maharaj Yudhishthira, who was no one's enemy. Pratanam, defensive forces. Gopi Thaya, for giving protection. Madhudvishaha, of the enemy of Madhu. Sri Krishna. Parebhyaha, from others, enemies. shankitaha, being afraid of, snehat, out of affection, prayunkta, engaged, chatuh anginim, four defensive divisions. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Yudhishthira, although no one's enemy, engaged four divisions of defense: horse, elephant, chariot, and army, to accompany Lord Krishna, the enemy of the asuras, demons. The Maharaja did this because of the enemy and also out of affection for the Lord. Translation with repetition. Maharaj Yudhishthira, although no one's enemy, engaged four divisions of defense: horse, elephant, chariot, and army, to accompany Lord Krishna, the enemy of the asuras, demons. The Maharaja did this because of the enemy and also out of affection for the Lord. Purport. Natural defensive measures are horses and elephants combined with chariots and men. Horses and elephants are trained to move any part of the hills or forests and plains. The charioteers could fight with many horses and elephants by the strength of powerful arrows, even up to the standard of the Brahmastra, similar to modern atomic weapons. Maharaj Yudhishthira knew well that Krishna is everyone's friend and well-wisher. And yet there were asuras who were by nature envious of the Lord. So out of fear of attack from others and out of affection also, he engaged all varieties of defensive forces as bodyguards of Lord Krishna. If required, Lord Krishna himself was sufficient to defend himself from the attack of others who counted the Lord as their enemy. But still, he accepted all the arrangements made by Maharaj Yudhishthira because he could not disobey the king, who was his elder cousin. The Lord plays the part of a subordinate in his transcendental sporting, and thus sometimes he puts himself in the care of Yashoda Mata for his protection in his so-called helplessness of childhood. That is the transcendental Leela or pastime of the Lord. The basic principle of all transcendental exchanges between the Lord and his devotees is exhibited to enjoy a transcendental bliss for which there is no comparison even up to the level of Brahmananda. Thus ends a wonderful transcendental Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Today's verse: Ajata Shatru Pritanam Gopithaya Madhudvishaha Parebhya Shankita Snehat Prayunta Chakturanginim. So Krishna is departing from Hastinapura, and Yudhishthir Maharaj has deputed four divisions of defense: horse, elephant, chariot, and army, to accompany Lord Krishna, who is described as the enemy of asuras, Madhudvishaha. Whereas Maharaj Yudhishthira is described as Ajata Shatruhu, who was no one's enemy. So nobody considered Maharaj Yudhishthira as enemy. So there was nothing for him to protect against. But Krishna is described as Madhudvishaha, enemy of Madhu. And Prabhupada clarifies in the purport that although Krishna is considered the well-wisher of everyone, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, well-wisher of everyone, highest benefactor, highest well-wisher and benefactor. There can be nobody who is a greater friend or a greater well-wisher, a greater benefactor than Krishna. It is not possible. But the living entities do not consider him that way. And especially those who count him amongst his enemies, to them, and they attack Krishna out of envy. For them, he is called Madhudvishaha, or the enemy of the Asuras. So such persons who do not count Krishna as their friend, but rather count him as enemy, even though he is the highest friend, well-wisher of everyone, including those Asuras, or those demoniac people who consider Krishna to be the enemy, who are envious of Krishna, but Krishna still remains their benefactor. And even though he remains their benefactor, in the external dealings with them, his reciprocations with such enemies are based on their desire to exchange their feelings with him in the mood of enemy. So because they come and fight with him as an enemy, he'll fight back externally, although he is the highest friend and well-wisher. But because Maharaj Yudhishthir had such great affection, attachment to Krishna, he couldn't bear to see Krishna attacked by such miscreants, by such asuras. And therefore, even though Krishna was perfectly capable of defending himself, and Yudhishthir Maharaj knew this very well, but still, out of his attachment to Krishna, he sent four divisions of defensive forces. So it is described, Prabhupada is explaining what does Chaturangini means. Because we have heard this term, Chaturangini Sena. Chaturangini Sena. Chaturangini Sena. Sena means defensive force. Chatur Angini. It means four division. Chatur is four. Angini is division. So four divisions comprises of horses, elephants, chariots, and foot soldiers. The army. The army here refers to the foot soldiers. So you see how in the Vedic times, horses, elephants, they were engaged in the normal course of the human society, and this interdependence between these animals created a path of sustenance for these animals also. Otherwise, if you are only interested in the dead animal, then the society is going to only be creating slaughterhouses for killing them. So in today's society, do people want elephants? They want elephant tusks. Do they want cows for milk? No, they want cow skin or cow flesh. So if you want cow flesh or cow skin, then what kind of society, what would be the kind of dependence? The dependence is to create slaughterhouses. But if you are going to leverage the living animal, the interdependence with living animals, then you have goshalas, you have cow sanctuaries, you have provision for horses and elephants to live peacefully. So this is the Vedic culture, which is to live harmoniously with the nature. That is just the underpinning, and Prabhupada says this is the natural defense consists of these four divisions: horses, elephants, chariot, and foot soldiers. Now, this, if you see the purport, if we go back, Prabhupada is saying that the Lord plays the part of a subordinate in his transcendental sporting, And thus sometimes sometimes he puts himself in the care of Yashoda Mata, his mother Yashoda, for his protection in his so-called helplessness of childhood. That is the transcendental Leela or pastime of the Lord. The basic principle of all transcendental exchanges between the Lord and his devotees is exhibited to enjoy a transcendental bliss for which there is no comparison even up to the level of Brahmananda. So this word transcendental is appearing 4 times and is describing 4 kinds of transcendental things. Let's just look at what that is. There is a transcendental Leela or pastimes of the Lord, which consists of 2 subsections that Prabhupada is talking about in the purport. One is that he is subordinate to Maharaj Yudhishthir, and in that subordination to Maharaj Yudhishthir, he is enjoying transcendental sporting. And under the care of Mother Yashoda, he becomes subordinate. And this is called, all of this put together, these are 2 varieties of transcendental Leela or pastimes. And what is the basis of this transcendental Leela or pastimes? This transcendental exchanges, Prabhupada says the basic principle of these transcendental exchanges are to derive transcendental bliss. They are meant to derive transcendental bliss. So when he becomes subordinate to Maharaj Yudhishthir, or he voluntarily places himself under the care of Mother Yashoda in his childhood, when he was a small baby, Mother Yashoda considered him to be a defenseless little boy, baby. And like any mother, she would give him protection. And Krishna voluntarily placed himself under such protection, even though no one can conquer Krishna. But he voluntarily placed himself under the protection of Mother Yashoda. And when he does that, what comes out of it? Why does he do that? And Prabhupada is explaining that he does that because these transcendental exchanges between Krishna and his devotees, they bring out transcendental bliss for both Krishna and his devotees. So this transcendental bliss is the reason why he is doing this. Now what is Prabhupada also says that this is something which cannot be compared at all with another kind of joy or pleasure. And what is that? Ananda, the kind of Ananda he's talking about, that cannot be compared with Brahmananda. So if you see the screen slide here, there is transcendental bliss is represented as a circle, and the word Brahmananda is pointing to something which is not even a dot. So it cannot even be compared. It's just pointing to something which is like an infinitesimal dot. So even if I had put one small dot, it would be measurable. So you will say, no, I think that is like 1,000 times smaller. No, it is not 1,000 times smaller. It is incomparable. Brahmananda means the stage when one is completely free from the bodily conception of life. And one considers oneself to be spirit, an impersonal spiritual realization where a person is completely free from bodily concept of life. So you would think that, okay, all the trouble that we have is because of the bodily conception of life. Simply sitting here is giving some backache and discomfort. So, and then within 15 minutes, we'll all be wondering, okay, when this class is going to end, when we go for prasadam. And then soon after prasadam, we'll feel tired and sleepy. And then we have to force to wake up afternoon, whatever it is. Whatever our dinacharya or whatever routines are, each routine is mainly meant to mitigate some bodily discomfort. Whether it's about eating or sleeping or evacuating or even talking to somebody else. Even if you feel, oh, I'm feeling lonely, let me call my friend. All of that is meant to mitigate some bodily misery or suffering or anticipated suffering. So when our entire life is being carried out to mitigate anticipated or experienced sufferings of the body and the mind, then imagine that all of that is taken away. Such a relief, such a relief. But that relief, the technical term for that condition of relief is called Brahmananda. Complete cessation of material anxiety. But even that complete cessation of material anxiety cannot at all be compared to the transcendental bliss, actual ananda that is felt in the transcendental exchanges with Krishna. So it's not even comparable. So what is at the heart of these exchanges? These exchanges are designed to bring about transcendental bliss. And bliss is a feeling. Bliss is a feeling. Bliss is a feeling. So Krishna is undertaking these transcendental exchanges means that he's exchanging feelings. Now, the feelings sometimes are associated with emotions. I'm feeling sad. You put a sad emoji. You tell somebody, right? You're texting someone. When you feel sad, what do you say? Feeling sad. Sad emoji. When you feel angry, angry emoji. You know, is that angry emoji? Looks like that. Then when you feel happy, smiley face, he puts that, right? So there are different emojis we have created. They're all emoticons that we have created for expressing our feelings. These emotions that we normally feel in our course of life, they are on the mental platform. We have this body made up of 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, ether. And then there is mind, intelligence, and false ego. These are 3 subtle elements that make up our body and mind system. So we have the 5 gross elements that make up this gross body, and then you have the mind, intelligence, and false ego. So this mind, it has got all these emotions. So the mind also has feelings. But this feeling that Krishna is exchanging is not at the mind level, because it is already far beyond even Brahmananda, which is experienced when you're completely freed from bodily conception of life. So if there is a feeling of relief that you get, or something that you can call as Brahmananda, it's not really Ananda, it is just relief from material miseries. But there is that feeling of relief that is coming when you're freed from bodily conception of life. So how can it be on a mental platform? That Ananda, that even Brahmananda, is not on mental platform. It is a spiritual platform. So the spirit soul, the real true living entity, also has a faculty of thinking, willing, and feeling. TWF, Prabhu has often given that acronym. TWF, thinking, willing, and feeling. And the transcendental exchanges with the Lord, they happen on this platform of spiritual thinking, spiritual willing, and spiritual feeling. The spirit soul is not devoid of these faculties. That is what makes the spirit soul a living entity. These are symptoms of a living entity. So the original living entity has a faculty of thought, has a faculty of will, and the faculty of feeling. These are the attributes of the original living entity. And it is on basis of these faculties that Krishna's transcendental exchanges happen. But if a living entity is not aware, and if their spiritual thinking, spiritual willing, and spiritual feeling have been delegated to matter, to mind, to the material covering that the spirit soul, the conditioned living entity, is engaged in, if that spirit soul is thinking through intelligence that has been given to him in the form of this material engaging, and is willing through the intelligence, is feeling through the mind, if these things are expressed through gross and subtle body, then that exchange will not be transcendental exchange. Because these faculties are already matter. Whether it is mind, intelligence, and false ego, which is subtle matter, or this gross body, which is made of gross elements, it is all matter. So when this matter is feeling, thinking, and willing, and through that matter, somebody says that, okay, I want to do XYZ, I want to do some activity, I have some desire, I have some thought. But when you're acting through this medium of matter, then even if that comes in relation with Krishna, because nothing can be without relation to Krishna, then that is not a transcendental exchange. So there are exchanges that Krishna has, which are transcendental exchanges and ordinary exchanges from the living entity's point of view. Of course, for Krishna, everything is spiritual because it's all his energy. But from the living entity's point of view, he does not desire to have a transcendental exchange. He desires to have material exchange, unknowingly. He doesn't know that he's exchanging with Krishna. He has no awareness. He is exchanging with the universe around him, the conditioned soul. But the universe around him is Krishna's energy. Therefore, unknowingly, he is interacting with Krishna. But that exchange is not considered transcendental exchange. So this feature of Krishna, where he exchanges with the living entity, depending upon the way the living entity desires to undertake that exchange, is given in a very nice verse in Bhagavad Gita. This verse comes in chapter 4, text 11. Please repeat after me. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stathaiva bhajamyaham mama varthamanu varthante manushya partha sarvashaha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. So Krishna is saying that you can surrender to me in any way that you want. And depending on the way that you surrender, I'll reward you. Everyone follows my path in all respects. That's a little surprising. How can everyone be following the path of Krishna? We all have been taught, as you come here and start hearing the class, you think that no, we are forgetting Krishna. We are forgetful of Krishna. And this is why we are in trouble. So how is it that everyone can follow the path of Krishna? But that's what Krishna is saying. Everyone follows my path in all respects. That means even those who are forgetful of Krishna are actually following the path of Krishna. How to understand this? How do we make sense of this? As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. Let us unpack this a little bit. So let me just read the purport of this verse. It's a wonderful purport, and there are some inferences that we can draw from that. And then this verse has been quoted somewhere else, and there is very nice description in some verses before and after that, and I'll discuss that also. But first, let's just read the purport of this verse. Prabhupada is saying, everyone is searching for Krishna. This is the first line of the purport. Everyone is searching for Krishna in different aspects of his manifestations. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is partially realized in his impersonal Brahma Jyotir effulgence and as the all-pervading Supersoul dwelling within everything, including particles of atoms. So everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestations. For the person who is looking to end this painful material existence, if that is the goal of life, so for someone, then that person is meditating upon a spiritual oneness, a absolute oneness in which the bodily conception of life disappears. That feature of Krishna is called the impersonal Brahma Jyotir effulgence. It's effulgence emanating from Krishna. So if somebody is meditating on that and wants to merge into that effulgence, then Krishna says, okay, you will not know about me, but you'll know about impersonal effulgence, because that's what you want. So if somebody wants to realize Krishna in his impersonal form, then Krishna facilitates that. Or if somebody wants to realize Krishna as an all-pervading super soul, Paramatma, dwelling within everything, including particles of atoms. So Krishna is also residing in every atom, in every living entity. So everybody and everything, everywhere. So that's why it's called all-pervading super soul. So if somebody wants to realize that aspect of Krishna, then Krishna facilitates that also. But, Prabhupada is saying, Krishna is fully realized only by his pure devotees. Because these two are not the full realizations. Krishna can be realized as impersonal Brahma Jyotir, which is the effulgence of Krishna, or he can be realized as in his all-pervading super soul form, but these are partial realization. That's why Prabhupada says that for these two, he is partially realized, and then he describes these two. But Krishna is fully realized only by his pure devotees. Consequently, Krishna is the object of everyone's realization. So if anyone wants to realize the truth, then Krishna is the object of the truth, either through the impersonal Brahmajyotir, or the all-pervading Supersoul, or the complete realization, which is Bhagavan, Krishna. In the transcendental world also, Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in the transcendental attitude, just as the devotee wants him. So you will see that in Prabhupada's writings, the word reciprocation occurs many places. And today's verse that we are reading, the title for today's class is called Transcendental Exchanges. So the terms transcendental exchanges and reciprocations are interchangeably used. One devotee may want Krishna as a supreme master, another as his personal friend, another as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna rewards all the devotees equally according to the different intensities of love for him. In the material world, now this was in the spiritual world. Now let's come to the material world. In the material world, the same reciprocations of feelings are there, and they are equally exchanged by the Lord with the different types of worshippers. So you see the exchange is exchange of feeling. The pure devotees, both here and in the transcendental abode, associate with him in person and are able to render personal service to the Lord and thus derive transcendental bliss in his loving service. So it is not that only the residents of the spiritual world derive transcendental bliss. No. There are pure devotees in this material world also. And in both cases, they are able to render personal service to the Lord. That is how the exchange happens, because exchange is not impersonal. If you want to merge into impersonal Brahmajyoti, or if you want to merge, or if you want to realize the all-pervading Supersoul, then that is not personal. What is personal is actually realizing the one Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. When you realize that person from whom all these expansions are coming, then that is a personal service. Only in personal service there can be transcendental bliss. For those who are impersonalists and who want to commit spiritual suicide by annihilating the individual existence of the living entity, Krishna helps them also by absorbing them into his effulgence. Such impersonalists do not agree to accept the eternal blissful personality of Godhead. Consequently, they cannot relish the bliss of transcendental personal service to the Lord. So if we are dealing with impersonal feature of the Lord, then it's not possible to experience transcendental bliss. Having extinguished the individual. Some of them who are not firmly situated even in impersonal existence, like all of us, return to this material field to exhibit their dormant desires for activities. So if impersonalist at least is trying to get out of the bodily conception of life. But what about us? We are not even interested in that. We are simply interested in fruitive activities. So for them, what does Krishna do? How does he reciprocate? He says, all right, after you leave this body, you come back to this material world and continue your field of activities, which is what he wanted. You want to enjoy this material world through our senses, whether it is gross senses or subtle senses. We want to enjoy gross pleasure, anticipation pleasure, or relationship pleasure, whatever you want to enjoy. If that is what you want to enjoy, that is all helped, assisted, or facilitated by Krishna through his external energy. And if you want to continue to enjoy that, then Krishna says, no problem. Be my guest. Here, I have created this world for you. Go suffer. Or enjoy. Enjoy. Like that you'll say. Go enjoy. So they are not admitted to spiritual planets, but they are given a chance to act on the material planets. For those who are fruitive workers, the Lord awards the desired results of their prescribed duties as Yajneshwara. And those who are yogis, so Prabhupada continues. Now, if you see this purport, there are three topics that have been discussed. One is the three types of realization. There are two partial realizations. What are the two partial realizations? Brahmananda. That is the result of the realization. But the partial realization itself is his impersonal Brahma Jyotir, which is his effulgence. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport. Partial realization of impersonal Brahma Jyoti. And what is that Brahma Jyoti? It is the effulgence of the Lord. So the Lord is situated like this, right, as a personality of Godhead. From him there is effulgence emanating and pervading the entire universe. This effulgence is called impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Jyoti means light, transcendental light. It's a transcendental light emanating from the Lord, and that's his impersonal feature. So that is one type of realization. So in that, the person does not want to see the Lord at all. He says, "What is, no, there is no such Lord. All there is this transcendental light. And I want to merge into that light." You can say nothingness or light, same thing. So that is one type of realization, in which the person is not even interested in the person Bhagavan. The second type of realization is all-pervading supersoul. And the third, these are both partial. But the complete realization is the personality of Godhead realization, because he is a source of the rest. He is a source of the effulgence, and he is a source of his expansion as Paramatma or Supersoul in every atom. If the Lord was not there, there is no question of expanding into every atom, right? So the Lord is the source of both. And because he is a source, understanding the Lord in his personal feature is inclusive of everything. He is a complete understanding. So there are three types of realization that are talked about. And he is reciprocating to each person based on how they want to realize him. Then these transcendental reciprocations is mentioned that in the spiritual world, what kind of reciprocations are happening? So some people want to accept him as a supreme master, some people as a personal friend, some as a lover, some as a son. So these are existing in the material world also between the pure devotees and the Lord. And there are, of course, beyond, other than pure devotees in the material world, there are these impersonalists. And those who are not even perfect impersonalists, they are not even able to follow the impersonalism. They are fruitive workers. And for them, what happens? The Lord puts them back in the material world and say, okay, go, enjoy. So that's what this verse is saying. Now this verse has been quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. But before I go to Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is another verse which I would like to quote, which is in Bhagavad Gita, which is also talking about a reciprocation, but that for that, to understand that, you have to see the purport. This verse is, Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshyo na me dveshyo asti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. And the translation is, Samoham sarva bhuteshu means I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. Na me dveshyo, that is, I envy no one. Asti na priyaha, nor am I partial to anyone. Samoham sarva bhuteshu, I am equal to all. But ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion, maite teshu chapyaham, that is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. So this is a bit of a apparent contradiction here, because on one hand he's saying he's completely neutral, right? I'm not partial to anyone, I'm equal to all. But then he's actually revealing a certain partiality in a way, right? What's the partiality? Whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I'm also a friend to him. So this is a very nice verse. Prabhupada is describing in this verse a certain feature, a nice analogy that is given. The analogy is given of a gold ring. You can see the gold ring here. Nice, beautiful gold ring. Some people may want to wear it like that, maybe engagement or some such other things. It's very nice, looks very beautiful like that. But if this gold ring has to become more beautiful, what should happen? How can you make the gold ring more beautiful and attractive? Any ideas? Mataji? Putting some precious gem. Let's put that and see how it happens. Okay? Your wish has been granted. We have put a diamond in the gold ring. You see how beautiful it has become? So when the gold ring has a diamond embedded in it, the gold ring becomes more beautiful. And of course, diamond by nature is glittering and very, very beautiful and very attractive, right? But that when the diamond is embedded in the gold ring becomes glorified. So such a wonderful gold ring. So Prabhupada says in the purport of this verse that Krishna is not partial to anyone. But that living entity who's compared to a gold ring, accept Krishna in the center of his life, who's compared to a diamond, then the devotee also becomes glorified. And the diamond also looks more beautiful when embedded in the gold ring. If I just take one small, plastic packet in which sometimes we put some sundal or those things and give, right? During some Navaratri, you may give some sundal. You can take that, some chickpeas like that in your hand, and it is. But then, when the same thing Mataji creates samosa chaat, that same chickpeas becomes glorified, right? So, this diamond ring, Krishna, he is naturally resplendent. There is no need to put him anywhere. But when you put him in the gold ring, this is an analogy, right? Don't take it too far. Don't start eating gold rings. Oh, gold rings, samosa chaat. No, they are very different. You eat gold ring, you will have serious problems. So when the diamond is embedded in the gold ring, it becomes glorified. Whereas diamond by itself is independent, completely. Diamond doesn't care, I am in gold ring or not in gold ring. Diamond is the king, right? If you keep it anywhere, even an ordinary hand you keep it, it'll be radiating like that. So analogy given is, just as by putting the diamond in a gold ring, both the diamond and gold ring become glorified. Similarly, even though Krishna is impartial and equal to everyone, when devotees approach him with love and devotion, and Krishna becomes the center of their life, Krishna gives himself to them, and thus both become glorified. The transcendental exchange between Krishna and his pure devotee becomes glorified. So in this sense, sometimes Krishna is described as a desire tree. A desire tree is something where you go and approach the desire tree, it will give you whatever he wants. Right? So sometimes people describe, analogies are given, that Krishna is like desire tree. Vaishnavas are like desire trees. Vancha, kalpataro. Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, Vaishnava is a kalpataru, desire tree. But actually, Prabhupada says in this verse, Krishna is going beyond being a desire tree. Because desire tree, let's say you were to go, any person, let's say desire tree, Kamsa were to go to desire tree and ask for samosa, what will he get? Samosa. If a pure devotee approaches a desire tree and asks for samosa, what will he get? Samosa. So desire tree that way is quite impartial. It gives everyone samosa. But Krishna is not like that. Kamsa, you want samosa? Here is one samosa, but that will be a spoiled samosa. If pure devotee has to be most wonderful tasting, the best samosa ever. That's the difference. Because the karmi, he is trying to enjoy Krishna without Krishna. So Krishna doesn't give himself because karmi doesn't want him. He doesn't want him. He just wants the enjoyment part, right? Where there is no enjoyment really. So Krishna wants to correct him as a highest well-wisher. He is not giving him spoiled samosa because he is envious of that person. No. Krishna is the highest well-wisher of everyone, even that karmi who wants samosa for enjoyment. So he gives him the spoiled samosa. Why? For his own benefit. So that he may realize that without Krishna, there is no taste in samosa also. Only when you add Krishna, the taste comes. Devotee already knows this. So he puts himself inside the samosa and gives him as prasadam. And so devotee is able to relish the transcendental pleasure, which the karmi cannot get. So the transcendental bliss is reserved for a personal exchange of feelings, not of a business transaction with the senses. Now, this concept is also touched upon in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where I'll go through a little faster now. The Lord's appearance has been described. If there are transcendental exchanges with the Lord, and He's coming in the material world to receive personal service, which we have already seen, that the Lord also comes to the material world, where the devotees can give personal service to the Lord. So why does He come? This has been described in the Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the beginning portion of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is a book. How many books are there in that? Chaitanya Charitamrita set. Not you, Prabhu. Any newcomers? Have you seen Chaitanya Charitamrita set? There's a set of books. It's there downstairs in our bookstore. So these are the very important books. Bhagavad Gita is very important. One book. Right? Bhagavatam. how many books. There are different sets. Depending on that, the set number books vary. But there are 12 cantos, and some of these cantos are big and they have to be distributed into multiple books. Then there is a book set called Chaitanya Charitamrita. That is God's set of 9 books. Am I right? 9 books? Or 13? Okay, depends on the edition there also. But there are many books. So in the Adi Leela, it has got division. They are divided into 3 parts. There is Adi Leela, Madhya Leela, and Antya Leela. So in Adi Leela, in the 4th chapter, the author of this Chaitanya Charitamrita is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Who is that? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Can you all please repeat, the newcomers? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He is the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he describes in the beginning, why does the Lord appear? So he says, the Lord's desire to appear was born from 2 reasons. The Lord wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God. And he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world on the platform of spontaneous attraction. So normally we think that the Lord appears, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya. So out of these, to destroy the miscreants, Paritranaya vinashaya cha dushkritam. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Adi Leela, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that whenever the Lord descends, all the incarnations also descend along with him. So to kill the miscreants, Vishnu, who is an expansion of the Lord, also descends along with him. And Vishnu is the maintainer of the world. So if there is some discrepancy in the world, actually there is a responsibility of Vishnu to correct that discrepancy. So when he is killing the demons like Kamsa or Jarasandha, these demons who are killed, or Putana, all these demons were killed. So these demons who are killed, they are killed by Vishnu incarnations who is with Krishna. So when Krishna is descending in his transcendental body, Vishnu is also there. Matsya incarnation is also there. The tortoise incarnation is also there. All the incarnations are present in the transcendental body of Krishna. You are seeing here, Krishna is there, but actually inside him Vishnu is there. Inside him, Kurma is there. Inside him, Matsya is there. They are all there inside him. Narasimha is also there inside him. So in order to actually kill the miscreants, Krishna, the person, doesn't have to do it. There are all these other incarnations who come with him and they do all that function. So why does Krishna come then? He could have just said, all right, Narasimha, how he appeared. Similarly, others can easily achieve that work. So he actually achieved. The confidential reason behind his appearance is given here. The Lord wanted to taste aswadana, means to taste. The sweet essence. Essence is niryasa. In this, niryasa is essence. Of mellows of love of God. Prema rasa. He wants to taste the mellows of the love of God. And the second, he wanted to propagate devotional service in the platform of the spontaneous attraction. So devotional service can be rendered in multiple ways, and one of them is spontaneous attraction. And thus he is known as supremely jubilant and most merciful of all. Parama Karuna. Rasika Shekhara, supremely jubilant and the most merciful, Parama Karuna. So these are the reasons. And I'll go quickly, but there are 3 things that I talked about. The devotional service, right? If you're seeing here, devotional service is described here as propagating devotional service on the platform of spontaneous attraction. That means there are other types of devotional service also. So that is described in the purport. There are 3 types: Raga Bhakti, Vidhi Bhakti, and Bhakti. So ordinary devotional service, pure devotional service, that is of spontaneous attraction, Raga Bhakti, and Vidhi Bhakti, or devotional service under scheduled regulations, which is also mixed Bhakti. So then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is continuing, he is describing how Krishna is thinking. Krishna is thinking, all the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty. So everyone thinks, right, because Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he is the origin of all the universes. So the universe is filled with the conception of my majesty, but weakened by that sense of majesty does not satisfy me. So the sense of, this is now Krishna is thinking, the sense of majesty is weakening the love for Krishna. And that does not satisfy me. He wants something higher. If one regards me as a supreme Lord and himself as a subordinate, I do not become subservient to his love, nor can it control me. Okay, so if somebody is regarding Krishna as a supreme master, he's a king of the whole universe, of all universes, then such a person, when he's thinking like that, he puts himself in a subordinate position. Krishna is a master. So Krishna says, okay, that is good, but it doesn't really satisfy me, and that is not, I'm not going to make myself subordinate to him, because he's considering himself to be subordinate. How can I make myself subordinate to him? So then he says, in whatever transcendental mellow my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. Now remember, these are transcendental mellows. These are not applicable to us. We are not thinking of Krishna as master or anything. We think ourselves as master. So this is not applicable to us. These are transcendental mellows we are talking about. His transcendental exchanges. What is our exchange with Krishna? I am the master. Serve me. Either serve me through my gross senses or serve me through the subtle senses. This is our mindset. So there's no question of transcendental exchange with Krishna in this kind of mindset. But for those who are truly surrendered to Krishna and consider him as a supreme master, they are serving him with awe and reverence. But that also doesn't truly satisfy Krishna. Krishna says, in whatever, okay, we already seen this. If one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great and considering me his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. So there are pure devotees who have such a relationship with Krishna where they think of Krishna as their son, or as their friend, or as their lover, and they consider Krishna as their equal or inferior. Then Krishna becomes subordinate. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamiham. Then the purport. The Lord, by his inherent nature, reveals himself before his devotees according to their inherent devotional service. The Vrindavan pastimes demonstrated that although generally people worship the Lord with reverence, the Lord is more pleased when a devotee thinks of him as his pet son, personal friend, or most dear fiancé, and renders service unto him with such natural affection. The Lord becomes a subordinate object of love in such transcendental relationships. Such pure love of Godhead is unadulterated by any tinge of superfluous, non-devotional desires. So it's not to be imitated. It's not to be imitated. Why? Because this love that we're talking about is unadulterated by any tinge of superfluous, non-devotional desires. So it's not for us. But this is for us to understand the nature of the Lord. And is not mixed with any sort of fruitive action or empirical philosophical speculation. It is pure and natural love of Godhead, spontaneously aroused in the absolute stage. This devotional service is executed in a favorable atmosphere, freed from material affection. So in this, I've already covered this. So this, what we are describing, again, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is giving confidential reasons why the Lord appeared. It is to taste the transcendental mellows with his pure devotees. And further he is describing how Krishna is thinking. Mother sometimes bind me as her son. She nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, what kind of big man are you? You and I are equal. This is not ordinary friend, not like we thinking, Arey, Krishna, you are my friend, let me give you yesterday's food, something like leftover foods, let's give. Leftover clothes, let us donate. Leftover furniture, let us give away. So that is not, our mood is not like that. Our mood is not in that friendship or equality. We cannot imitate that. We cannot imitate that. Sometimes we see ordinary people trying to imitate. Oh, I scolded Krishna. Why you have done this to me? Okay, no, we cannot imitate like that. When we scold Krishna, actually we are wanting, why we are scolding Krishna with the mood, why are you not serving me properly? Why are you not serving my senses properly? We are the servant of senses, not servant of Krishna. There's no question of considering Krishna as equal or subordinate for us, because that question does not arise for us. We are already under the control of our senses. And when anyone causes any disturbance of our senses, we become angry at them. So we consider Krishna as one of those people whose responsibility is to serve our senses. So, if my beloved consort reproaches me in a sulky mood, that steals my mind from reverent hymns of the Vedas. According to the Upanishads, all living entities are dependent on the living entity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. But in the course of exchanging transcendental love of the highest purity, sometimes the subordinate devotee tries to predominate over the predominator, who is the Lord. One who lovingly engages with the Supreme Lord as if he were the mother or father sometimes supersedes the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is how Krishna is reciprocating with Yudhishthira, where Yudhishthira is sending 4 divisions of army. What are the 4 divisions of army? Yeah. Yes. Horses, elephants, chariots, and army, which is foot soldiers. So, because sometimes people think of army as everything of this, so I'm clarifying. Here the army means foot soldiers. So these 4 divisions of army have been sent for protection of Krishna. Krishna does not require any protection. Why does he accept that protection? Because of the transcendental exchange. Here Yudhishthira is considering Krishna to be subordinate, as a younger brother. Right? So Krishna is saying, okay, you are my older brother. Whatever you say, I'll take. You want to give me protection? All right, I'll take protection. So these are the transcendental exchanges. Actually, in Bhagavad Gita, there are many such references to these transcendental exchanges. I just quoted 2 verses. Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam sataiva bhajamyaham. Mama varthamanu vartante, manushya partha sarvasha. Samoham sarva bhuteshu, na me dveshti na me priyaha. Then, what's the third line? Also forgotten. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshi chapyaham. Okay, those are the lines. So, besides this, Krishna is showing how he transcendently reciprocates in other verses also, where he says, Yoga kshemam vahamyaham ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana pariupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. So there also he is saying that I protect what they have and provide what they lack, devotees. So when a devotee is ananyas chintayanto mam, when they're thinking about Krishna, meditating on Krishna without deviation, without adulteration, whatever they have is preserved by Krishna, and whatever they lack is supplied by Krishna personally. Not through the external energy of Krishna, but personally. Then another place, Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. So those who are constantly engaged in my devotional service, to them, I provide that intelligence by which they can attain me. Because the devotee wants to attain Krishna, and he is constantly endeavoring. But by devotees living tiny, infinitesimal living entity, what is the hope of that living entity to attain Krishna? So Krishna guides him and provides him that intelligence by which he can reach Krishna. So we also have hope. To the extent that we surrender to Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. He provides us with intelligence. But we cannot imitate the transcendental exchanges of pure devotees. But that does not mean we cannot make any progress. We can make progress. It is dependent on how we are engaging our spiritual senses of our thinking, willing, and feeling in directly dealing with Krishna and not going through our material senses. So I'll stop here, see if you have any questions, comments. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jagat Guru Shila Prabhu